Hello, welcome to Inside the Studio. I'm your host, Chris Rainey. As always, our sponsor is Combat Wombat, an expression of marsupial violence known somewhere. What's up, everyone? Primarily, my patrons on Patreon. Thanks very much. We got some new people now, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. It's nice to feel like, people are interested in me making real art. What I think is important and valuable, and maximizing what I have to offer as an artist. I love making MMA squared. I actually have a lot of fun, and it's really good to work on a deadline and learn how to be efficient. I've actually found that my skills have improved. That may not be apparent all the time. Probably one of the critiques that gets under my skin is low effort. I think that what I do for Bloody Elbow is something that needs to be taken in context. And by that, I mean, in the larger context of what a daily comic is. It's, any one particular day. Yes, I'm totally more than willing to take any criticism. But if you look at what I do for Bloody Elbow 4 days a week, I think there's you learn a little bit about the MMA landscape and what's happening, and definitely you're seeing it through a filter, through mine. Anyway, just I got the low effort comment recently on the Colby Covington comic from yesterday, and I thought it was funny, if only because I made that comic with 4 portraits, with Colby, Nick Diaz, Leslie Smith, and Jason Knight, and it's not low effort doing 4 portraits in a single panel. With just like, I try and I have a strict schedule that I try and keep with MMA squared. I don't believe it's the kind of thing that's going to benefit from me spending 8 hours a day working on it. Not that I have 8 hours to myself ever, but unless I'm unconscious, then I kind of have it. Anyway, so I made the Covington comic, and I looked at it and I felt like it wasn't very readable. The joke wasn't landing well. And I redid it with just Covington with the Dick Diaz pun. And it did well enough. It did good numbers for the site. So I'm actually pretty okay with that. Anyway, I'm here more to talk about art than my comic, but just giving you guys a heads up on what it's like for me making these things every day. I don't know. Do you care about that? Let me know. I have always been, I'm a huge fan of YouTube vloggers. I really like when people talk about their lives, and especially when people have kind of a creative outlet and then use the vlog format that I'm doing now to kind of round out the person beyond the content. And that's kind of how I'm approaching this currently. I think I'd spoken earlier about how I wanted to live stream art itself, but I've kind of decided against that for the time being, which is fine, because artwork is what people care about and what the patrons are paying for. So I'd rather send more artwork that way and have this be a way to just kind of round out myself as a person. Anyway, I'll let you know a little bit what's going on. We are selling this home that we're in. We're actually going to stay in the same building, but we found a larger apartment co-op, and it's fascinating. This one that we're living in is the first home we've ever owned, and I remember trying to buy this place about almost 4 years ago, basically being like a dog, desperate for approval, begging people to take our money, a realtor, the mortgage broker, lawyers, and the seller themselves. And it's funny how this time, the second time around, we have an asset that the buyer wants, and then the person we're buying from, they really want they want that money. And it's a real shift in the power dynamic. I'm not accustomed. You see all this stuff unfold in front of you, in real time. And it's amazing how the dynamics change. We're so much more relaxed because we know we have something that people want in two ways, both in an asset that people want to buy, and we have, the money to buy a home that somebody else wants that money. Fortunately, we're using the same lawyer and mortgage broker, so I'm way more relaxed dealing with them. I know that they can get the job done, and they know that I can take care of business as well. It's a real learning experience. I'm taking care of I do a lot of the in-person stuff, meeting people and doing a lot of face-to-face things with all the previously mentioned parties. And I got to say, I know a lot of people online are introverts, but I am not. And it is a huge asset to be socially engaging. And I don't want to say fearless, but willing to make the first move. It's been really beneficial to me throughout my life because I do not possess type A personality traits. I am not obsessed with detail, making lists, focusing. It's been a real challenge for me. If any of you have ever been like ADHD, I mean, I learned about that later in life, and it was probably the case. Or if you've ever went to school and heard things like he's got tons of potential if only he would apply himself, has trouble focusing. It was real. It's almost painful how contrived the critiques that I got as a kid growing up versus what so many other people have gotten. That's a real way to feel like cookie cutter almost. But a lot of people go through that, and I learned that I was really big into reading as a kid, and then I realized that a lot of people are uncomfortable in social situations, and that was something I could take advantage of, because if I knew that everyone else felt a certain way, then I could make the first move, and everything would turn out fine. The world does not end on a weekly basis. So I've been basically rolling the dice that way most of my life. Anyway, that's I hope to be moved in about maybe 5 or 6 weeks, and then maybe have a dedicated studio space. That would be awesome. Right now, you're seeing basically, this room that we double. It's an office and a bedroom. It's quite large. It's quite comfortable. You could see a little bit of stuff. Let me see. That's a painting that this fabulous artist Chris RWK did of me and my wife for our anniversary. We got a painting by my kid. We got some old business cards, and then we got this really cool rubber tree. I love plants. I like taking care of them, and that's what I use to decorate our home. And I've been looking I look at a lot of blogs, actually 1 or 2 blogs, but I look at them a lot about how people decorate their homes. Neither me nor my wife have much flair for interior design. And I found it to be really helpful to spend the past, say, maybe 3 years looking at things and basically look at what comes up over and over and over again that makes sense to you. And there's a certain aesthetic with like light floors, light wood furniture, white walls, and all the color comes from the green of the plants. I like to make that the style we go for, which, it might not matter. It might be a little self-indulgent, but once you hit a certain age, and especially, I got kids now, I would like them to grow up in a place that has some sense of order and does not devolve into chaos. I visit a lot of homes now because once you got kids, you start visiting other people's homes, and some people do a fantastic job. Some people have a um, real nice sense of design. Some people, you can tell they've been together a long time, and they were together before they had kids because they have the cool stuff. They have like awesome comic book collections and really cool serving utensils for mixing drinks or cooking special foods. Uh, and you can tell they've been together. They put the time in before they had kids. And now that shit is over. Now you're just like, making bottles and cleaning up toys. But we're kind of not quite in that space. We're more starting from scratch. But I see I've cracked the 11-minute mark. I don't want to make these long and tedious. Thanks for checking in. I'm going to go do some work. I watched Colby Covington fight this weekend. He was amazing. I know that he is an unlikable human, but I have to admit, if I were to watch this without having heard anything out of his mouth and watch the whole fight with the sound off, I kind of admire his relentlessness. So there's my polarizing realization. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you next week.